finding the perfect length of time between meals to maximize fat loss and to maximize nutrient absorption isn't really an easy task, okay? There's multiple different angles you have to look at. There's the digestion angle, there's of course the actual glucose uptake, the cellular angle, there's the biochemical piece, there's the DNA piece, there's a lot of different pieces we have to look at. So today's video, we're focusing mainly on the nutrient absorption piece as far as digestion goes, which plays a huge critical role in terms of your fat loss, but also just in your overall ability to utilize the nutrients you consume. If you're properly utilizing the protein you take in, you will have more protein synthesis and therefore build more muscle and stay leaner and get the desired result that you really want. So we'll break it all down. I'm going to link a lot of this with fasting, because fasting is where the research comes in terms of what happens when we give our digestive system the proper break, and it's allowed us to identify what the ideal time period is between meals to get the maximum effect. Today's video is brought to you by Seed. So that is a 25% off discount link for Seed Synbiotic, which is a prebiotic and a probiotic in one capsule. So literally a capsule inside of a capsule. I like them because it works, but I also like them because they put their money where their mouth is with scientific literature. They actually publish their own trials. They do their own science. So if you're looking for a probiotic, you're looking for something in terms of gut health, or just to kickstart you, Seed is a great choice. So that link is in the top line of the description. And again, that is a 25% off discount link for their daily Synbiotic, prebiotic and probiotic in one capsule. So top line of the description underneath this video. I am going to touch on something first. I am going to touch on insulin sensitivity for 1 second. So insulin is the key to your cell. Okay, when you eat, you have an increase in insulin. That insulin is a key that opens the cell that allows nutrients to get into the cell. If you are not insulin sensitive, then your cells will never really get all the food that they need. So the first thing I want to get out on the table, so you really get one thing out of this video no matter what, is that it is super critical between your meals that you don't eat anything, that you keep it very strict, that you eat a meal and then you don't snack and then you eat a meal. This is going to ensure that your insulin sensitivity remains high. That means that when you do eat, you don't need a whole lot of response. A little bit of food is going to trigger just enough insulin, and you're not going to suffer from not absorbing your nutrients as much. Now, if we look at the research in the world of fasting, intermittent fasting increases a specific protein called tropomyosin. So when you're fasting, you have a secondary effect that's triggering even more insulin sensitivity. Point is, keep it very clear and defined. Meal, break, meal, break, so that your insulin sensitivity is at its absolute best. Okay, now let's move into digestion, because this is the stuff I really want to focus on. Inside our gut, we have villi. We have this brush-like structure that's inside our intestinal tract, and that's creating a bunch of surface area for nutrients to get absorbed. If we didn't have the villi, there'd be significantly less surface area. Well, inside each individual villi or brush, you're going to have a high degree of lymphatic vessels, you're going to have capillaries, and it's the job of these to suck nutrients out of food and transfer them into the bloodstream where we can utilize them. The interesting thing is that our gut barrier and our villi is what is called a selective barrier. It's not like it's just this strict barrier that doesn't let things in and sometimes does. It has a brain, has a mind of its own, and has the ability to determine if something is healthy and good and can go through, or if something is a pathogen and should not go through. So it's really wild. It's exactly what is called a selective barrier. Well, it turns out that that selective barrier is protected by a specific antibody called IgA, immunoglobulin A. Now, when we're fasting, we're going a significant period of time without food. The Scandinavian Journal of Immunology demonstrated that, well, you have a big increase in IgA, therefore protecting the gut, enhancing nutrient absorption at the end of a fast. So they took a look at mice that had salmonella. They were infected with salmonella, and they had them do alternate day fasting every other day for 12 weeks. Well, they got rid of the salmonella and excreted it much faster than those that didn't fast, simply because there was a heightened immune response. Now, normally we think the immune response is not good. We don't always want this heightened immune response, but when it's localized in the gut, it helps protect the gut and actually removes pathogens and protects the villi, so we actually get more nutrient absorption. So from a mechanical standpoint and actual absorption, that's why we absorb so much of the right things after a fast. That's always why in all of my intermittent fasting videos, I'm talking about being very careful with what you use to break your fast, because you're going to absorb it. Not only at the biochem cellular level inside your body and your tissues, but literally at the digestive side too. So what you consume is what you're going to get. So again, that's why lean protein is always the way to go. Like lean chicken, lean fish, that is a perfect solution to be able to break your fast. But anyhow, that's not just everything I want to talk about. It keeps going. Okay, so then we have to look at another piece of the equation outside of just the IgA. Okay, that IgA response is going to occur whenever you're under stress from fasting. So that's probably happening around 7 or 8 hours of not eating. Okay, I don't recommend that you go 7 or 8 hours without eating or in between every meal. Okay, if you're fasting, that's one thing. But if you're not fasting, we need to focus on the benefits of something else called the migrating motor complex. So this is complicated, but I'm going to make it simple. The migrating motor complex is going to be what determines exactly how long you should wait between meals for the maximum effect. What it is it's a cyclical kind of rhythmic pattern of our gut, of our stomach, and our intestinal tract that is triggered by electrical cues within the body. It is like a rhythmic motion that is literally just pulsations and contractions of our stomach and our intestinal tract. It is not what aids in digestion. That is not the purpose. It is not moving to digest food. It's a janitorial crew, and the migrating motor complex is there to clean out debris after we eat. Okay, so I'll give you an example. You eat a pizza, okay? Your body digests it, does its thing. Okay, then after you eat that pizza, you have an electrical cue that signals the migrating motor complex to start moving in specific contractile forces and specific patterns. And the job of this is to move the intestines in such a way that it gets debris out of the villi and it forces them out of the body. It also is the opportunity to clear pathogens out of the intestinal tract. It is the janitorial crew. If you are constantly eating, the janitorial crew doesn't get a chance to actually clean the things that need to get cleaned up. It doesn't clear the pathogens, it doesn't clear the debris, and it makes it so that the next time you do eat, you're not absorbing as much. When you are fasting, this gets put into action. Now, to a high degree, when you're doing a longer fast, you have a massive degree of this. If you've ever fasted and midway through a fast, you get a sudden urge to go to the bathroom, that is not uncommon. That's because the migrating motor complex is kicking into gear and it's getting rid of a lot of the debris, and you're moving a lot of waste at that point in time because the migrating motor complex, the janitorial crew, has come in, it's put a bunch of stuff in trash bags, and it's moving it out through your body. Okay, that's extreme. That's great, and we love that. But there's a specific number between meals too. Okay, generally it's going to be between 4 and 5 hours where the migrating motor complex has had a chance to do its job, at least to a small degree. So the simple answer is you want to wait about 4 to 5 hours between your meals, because that's going to make it so that the migrating motor complex has had an opportunity to clear out the intestinal tract with all the debris and all the pathogens, so that the next meal you eat gets absorbed rapidly, which allows you to have a better insulin response, which allows you to absorb it better at the cellular level, which allows you to have a better response overall and keeps that biofeedback going all through and through. So the short answer, fasting, massive, massive increases in nutrient absorption from a digestive standpoint and from insulin sensitivity. In between meals, well, 4 to 5 hours. So again, do not eat in between your meals. Keep them structured 4 to 5 hours unless you have some other plan that specifies otherwise, and you're going to get the best effect of nutrient absorption. But again, full disclaimer, it's very hard to determine what's going to increase specific nutrient absorption in different individuals. All we can do is look at the playbook and make the best decision. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.